And now the text from the Sukcha, number 64. So on Zoom, in the chat screen, if you do not know where that is, look at the bottom of your Zoom window. Go to the bottom of it. Right at the bottom row, somewhere in the middle, you will see chat. Click on that. Then you'll see a PDF has been shared with you, been shared with everyone. Click that PDF. It's when you hover your mouse over it, it will say click to open. So that's where you click. So this particular teaching called with the title, If You Do Not Practice, It Is But the Collecting of Rotten Letters. So again, a few words about the general characteristics of these teachings, this Sukcha. So these are not necessarily the exact words of Kyobpa Rinpoche. Some of them, I believe, are like letters that he wrote. Then those are, exact words. But many of these are Sherab Jungne, especially, heard him teach, heard Kyobpa Rinpoche giving these instructions. And so then he wrote them down. And he wrote them down. As I've said, people who have worked on this body of texts and translating them have said that sometimes it's not clear whether it's Sherab Jungne's voice or is it Kyobpa Rinpoche's voice. But in a way, it doesn't matter so much. Because even when it's Sherab Jungne's voice, we know that he is using his voice to communicate what he heard Kyobpa Rinpoche teach. So in that sense, they are inseparable in terms of their understanding, in terms of Sherab Jungne's ability to channel, so to say, but not in that magic sense of channeling, but in a sense of Sherab Jungne being able to accurately, effectively communicate, to record down what Kyobpa Rinpoche taught. Yeah. So here, so this particular teaching here, divided into sections, and each section there is sort of a quote, but not exactly a quote maybe, but just like some pithy statement. And so if we look at the beginning, it says, and so I put them in italics. It says, the supreme and common siddhis arise from devotion to the Guru. So that's the quote, or that's the teaching that then the next few lines are going to comment on. Yeah. And so here, Kyobpa Rinpoche say, though we have been taught a sublime instruction, so though we have been taught this instruction that says the supreme and common siddhis arise from devotion to the Guru, so though we've been taught this, we think it's just for his self-interest. He just said this, for his own interest, because he's the Guru. So even among the most devoted and advanced students, there will be moments where that thought would arise, oh, He's just saying this. She's just saying this because, it conveniently works to her advantage. Yeah. So this is quite honest, like this kind of feeling is going to come up. So Kyobpa goes on, and ignore it, and instead make jokes before him, even to the point of making jokes in front of the guru. So you can also imagine, Kyobpa Rinpoche is speaking this to all these monks that have gathered, all these disciples that have gathered in this valley to study with him, to train with him. It's not like any of them were forced to come. Of their own accord they came. But nonetheless, you get distracted. Then he says, do the numerous monks like this benefit me? Or do they benefit you? So we know, like in his own time, various sources, including non-Drikung sources, said that he was probably the one teacher during his time that had the most number of disciples gathered around him. So in other words, it's like, by ordinary standards, he was very successful. So now you can see sort of like him saying, yeah, but so many monks all here. If they don't listen to this instruction, what's the point? Do they benefit me? Or do they benefit you? You as in, like maybe even, the people who have vested interests, material interests in having a large community in that area, right? And maybe the people who control the area, maybe people who run the monastery, So Kyobpa is saying, like, really? You think like so many people gathered around here? What do you think? I need this? No, I don't need this. You guys need this? Are you sure? So then he says, forsake negative friends and head to the forest instead. Maybe even, when he gave this teaching, he's a little fed up with, like, you all came here, right? You all say you want to practice. But then what are you all doing here? Hanging out. On a good day, say, oh, we trust you. We want you to train us, Then when distracted, even saying things like, yeah, I don't know, all this guru stuff. So it says, better to forsake, hanging out with all these negative friends and head to the forest. In other words, go into solitude and practice. Don't get excited with all the gatherings that are going on here. Then the next quote, or the next point. All the qualities of secret mantra to be found arise from empowerments and samayas. So it is through devotion to the Guru that we receive empowerments and samaya. Of course, these days, without even knowing who is giving the empowerment, much less, having devotion, we turn up. That's just our situation, right? I'm sure some kind of connection, some kind of blessing is planted, but that's not exactly empowerment and samaya. But many people will say, oh, you took the empowerment from so-and-so. Oh, now you have samaya with so-and-so. Or you have a connection with so-and-so. But I'm not sure if this empowerment is received and the samaya is established. Which also means on a footnote, don't be so paranoid, Oh, I'm breaking samaya. And often this is how people use this notion of you have received empowerment, you have received samaya, you're breaking samaya. And this is often used as a means of control. And that's also very negative. Not that we should be casual about, our Dharma connections, with or without Samaya, with or without empowerments. Dharma connections we should cherish. So even if it is a Lama that turned up you don't know much about, you attended, you received teachings, you received empowerments, or you attended the empowerment ritual, you should cherish that, yes, But at the same time, the point is, you simply going there, and sitting through something, it's not, you don't receive empowerments and you don't establish samayas that way. Samayas and empowerments are established when we have devotion to the Guru. Then we receive the empowerments and the samayas. And then all the qualities of secret mantra would arise from empowerments and samayas. Then Kyobpa says, even though we may cry out with lament, so even though, sometimes we get emotional and then get showy, like, oh, I'm so fed up with samsara, sometimes. Or we might say, oh, I miss you so much, oh Guru, and this and that, Even though we do that, but we do not uphold the samayas. But instead, we act as we please. There's no sense of this, no stable sense of there is a bond, samaya here. There is a bond here. And instead, we just act as we please. A part of the notion of bond is, of course, a little lack of freedom. Sometimes we emphasize too much. Oh, we practice to be free. We practice to be free. But too early, wanting to be free is also not skillful. Because then you think, oh, I don't need anyone. I don't need to be connected. Then we become very casual about samaya. That doesn't work either. On the one hand, being paranoid about samaya doesn't work. On the other hand, being casual about samaya also doesn't work. Devotion to the Guru in the wrong way doesn't work. If it's hero worship, it is currying favor, trying to get close to the Lama, and then being able to demonstrate to others how close you are to the Lama. All those things don't work. That's not Guru Yoga. That's not Guru devotion. At the same time, thinking, oh, I don't need Guru, also don't work. As much as, these days you hear all these problems with people and their gurus, it's indispensable. Just because people have messed up this relationship doesn't mean, we therefore, and there are some of these modern tantra, whatever they call it, modern vajrayana, modern lineage, they want to get rid of the method. It also doesn't work, It's sad that things have gone wrong and given, this method of Guru Yoga such a bad taste to it, Like, frankly, I'm not comfortable, talking about Guru Yoga, Guru devotion in a general teaching. Because there's so much that has gone wrong. And it's such a turnoff. But at the same time, if we are serious about the path, this aspect is indispensable. But again, it's not the way we normally think of Guru Yoga. It's not hanging out with the Guru. In fact, some distance from the Guru is necessary if this person is to be Guru. You can relate to Dharma teachers, not in this sense of Guru, but of course, even that, in the end, you have to recognize everyone's Buddha mind is inseparable from Guru, inseparable from Dharmakaya. So I'm not saying that every Dharma teacher, necessarily you have the conditions to relate in this way. But at the same time, especially in the West, I hear people say, oh, he's my friend, he's my guru. It doesn't work like that. Then some even, oh, he's my lover, he's my guru. Oh, even worse, even doesn't, way harder that it can work that way. My goodness, But, oh, she's my friend and she's my guru. You say, no, it doesn't work. Too close. If a guru is really doing what he or she does and functioning as a guru, it is supposed to be a lonely place, so to say. You don't get to hang out. Your job is not to hang out. Your job is to point out what needs to be worked on without fear or favor. So even someone like Chongsa Khyentse Rinpoche, superstar, lots of students, he says, myself included, he says, a little gutless, still want to be liked, still want to be praised, still want to, feel good. So don't want to piss people off. Don't want to say the things that needs to be said. So then, it's also not going to work. So ourselves, understanding this, recognizing this, we need to always look at the way we relate to the Guru. It's not a matter that is settled once and for all. It's a constant working out and figuring it out. So like I work when I, in different capacities, I do different things for my teachers, my gurus. And I can tell you sometimes we forget, or I forget. Yeah? Oh, wait, this is the guru. And then if there's enough awareness, there's something that you will learn. Then I say, oh, so even mistake. So don't be afraid at the same time to make mistakes, because that's how we actually grow. So if we have mindfulness, awareness, we relate, and then we always turn around and say, oh, right, that, then you learn something. So at the same time, if you're too afraid, and you think, oh, I should just, not do anything, then you also, you're not going to grow, So even though we may cry out with lament, we do not uphold the Samayas, but instead act as we please. So in some ways, the Samayas are there to stop us from simply acting as we please. And in Tibetan, there's a saying, when somebody gets like very cocky and very, arrogant, particularly lamas, we say, there's no stone, they say, there's no stone hanging over his head. And the notion of a stone hanging over the head is that it can come crashing down anytime. And this is the guru. Actually, the literal meaning of guru, or the root of the word guru, is heavy. So weighty. So this weight is some kind of burden, actually. Now, of course, it's glossed as weighty, heavy with qualities, heavy laden with qualities. But there should also be a sense of, when you have a stone, hanging above your head, right? Like literally, right? A boulder that will crush you. You are a little bit more careful, you're a little bit more alert. You're a little bit more aware. You won't just make sudden moves as you please, So having this, hang over your head, again, skillfully, it's good. So that we do not just act as we please. And then keeping the company of people with damaged samayas brings about the ruin of everything. So here is talking about, if you hang out among bad example, people who ruin their samayas, damage their samayas, and don't even, that's like no big deal. So if you hang out with them, they will affect you. So again, one footnote here is, again, unfortunately, people and often dysfunctional communities, Dharma communities, will use this notion of damaged samayas and the pollution of damaged samayas to kind of control each other and to terrorize each other. That is part of what's contributing to not being able to talk about samayas in a proper way. I've seen this, people going around, oh, that person broke their samaya. We should not associate with them, or we should boycott this person, boycott that person. It happens so much, This is a perversion of the Dharma. These teachings are not to be used, applied to others, to judge others. It's for ourselves. It's saying here, we have to guard our samayas. Don't take the samayas casually. And then also be alert to how, when we are among people who don't, who have samayas but have broken and damaged samayas, but seem kind of proud about it or don't seem concerned about it. If you hang out a lot with people like that, it's going to affect you. So it says, so now remain in a place of purity, as in purity of samayas, all by yourself instead. Sometimes that can be done by not opening your big mouth. Meaning, oh, this is my guru, this is my guru, this person is my guru, this person is not my guru is this, my guru is that. Easier to protect your samaya when you don't reveal and don't talk much about, my guru is this person, my guru is that person, because obstacles are going to come. Like zip, don't talk about who your guru is. It's no one's business, But again, in so many Dharma communities, people go around parading who their guru is. Next, the practice of the generation and completion stages transforms one's ordinary body, speech, and mind, and brings about the accomplishment of secret mantra. So the generation and completion stages of deity practice. That is what will transform our ordinary body, speech, and mind, and bring about the result. Though we are taught such hard advice and instructions, we don't practice them, but instead collect rotten letters. So we have a lot of details. We have a lot of notes. We have a lot of theory. We have a lot of ideas. We know even, oh, when this comes up, you should do this. When that comes up, you should do that. But then we don't ever practice. We don't actually sit down and do what could be boring, an hour of repeating the mantra or visualizing this or experiencing the generation stage or the completion stage. We don't practice. Instead, we collect rotten words, rotten letters. We have a lot of theory. Speaking of devotion, so mouth talking about devotion, we paint pictures of ghosts. Meaning like phantom, ghost not in the sense of scary, ooh, ghost, but phantom, meaning no substance. So mouth, we talk a lot about devotion, but instead we paint these phantoms. Those who are cows with human bodies just tire out their mouths with talk. Cows can't talk, but there are some humans who are like cows in that they have obtained a human body so they can talk a lot. But otherwise, in this culture, cows are considered kind of not very intelligent, dumb. That's the context here, So then you tire out by just the mouth, blah, 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 blah. So now speak not, but remain in silence instead. Don't talk too much about all these teachings, division, just remain silent. The moment ultimate Mahamudra dawns within one's mind stream, self-grasping is utterly driven back. Self-grasping is overturned. So, Kyobpa says, though the masters of yore, the masters of the past, have given us such teachings, we just blabber on, full of defilements. Then this section is particularly directed at those who pretend to be teachers or have the job of teachers. So even not pretending, but you have the job of being teachers. It says, we just blabber on full of defilements, such as falsely claiming instead to be a guru, presenting oneself as a qualified guru, but yet having all kinds of defilements. But talk. We fall to lower realms on account of our views and conduct. So not, it says, your actions, you might look like you're such a great person, but inside full of defilements. So our views and our conduct betray us. So now we'll be damned if we don't uphold the vows, if we don't uphold the practice, if we don't uphold these teachings, which is primarily to drive back, to turn back self-grasping. So this is 64. If you do not practice, it is but the collecting of rotten letters. So we take a break now. We come back with Gongchik.